was about to say good morning, Joshua. However, it's midnight in your time zone, so I'm not sure what to say.
Yes. Well, you can say good morning. Yep.
Where are you joining us from?
I'm joining from Memphis, Tennessee.
And today I'm in Sofia, Bulgaria. So we do have, I think, 8 hours difference.
Yeah, 8 hour
And
difference.
we were chatting with Joshua last week, and because I'm a morning person, he offered me a slot at 8 p.m. I'm like, oh,
Yes.
I mean, if that's the only slot, I'll definitely make it. But then he was like,
Yeah.
you know what, man? I can do midnight. So,
Yeah, I can.
hello,
You
everybody.
see,
Welcome back to Productivity Mastery. I'm very excited to welcome my guest today because this guy is such an inspiration, and he's one of these genuine leaders who's helping the younger generations that I would say really need guidance, and we need more people
yeah.
like Joshua to share advice, to share mindset, and to help these young people to get into a right path, to find themselves, discover themselves, invest into their personal growth. So, Josh, I admire what you do, brother. Thanks for being with us today.
Oh, yes, man. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here, Stoyan. And I'm also, man, glad to meet you as well.
How old are you, man, right now?
I'm 27 years old right now.
Okay,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
27. Quite a bit of stuff already, huh?
No, yes, I've been experiencing life, man. You know, a lot of people when they look at me or I have conversations with people and I tell them my age and they say, "Man, you're just a young guy." But I'd be like, "Man, I am young, but I've been through a lot in life. I've been through a lot."
Can you maybe tell us a little bit more about your story, your upbringing, and everything you had to go through at an early age?
Yeah, man. Well, so man, just going all the way back to the very beginning where my story starts. And I actually just found this out just a couple months ago as I've been digging deep in my story to figure out just more about my life as I speak to the younger generation. But I found out, man, that in the very, very beginning, I was born. My mother, she was in a shelter when I was born, and it was a situation going on between her and my father, and so she was in a shelter. And after I was born, while I was in the shelter, she moved all the way from Memphis, Tennessee to Los Angeles, California. And that's how I ended up in Los Angeles, California, because my mother was, she wanted to separate from my father and go to Los Angeles so she can have a better life. And so that's just where my story starts, right? Already, it's like, wow, you were born while your mother was in abuse shelter. And so that's where it started. But growing up, man, I'm just going all the way back to my early days. I remember my father and my mother, their relationship was a big part of my childhood. And it was a relationship that was sometimes good, but a lot of times bad. Like, I'll be honest, it was a lot of times bad because, they had marital problems. I mean, as a young child, the things that I saw and the things that I heard were things like financially, we were struggling financially. Like, that was one of the big problems within my life as a very young child, just knowing that we didn't have much. And I remember as a young child living in homes with rats, living in homes with roaches. I remember as a young child not being able to buy brand new clothes, but wearing the hand-me-downs from my older brothers because I was the youngest boy at that time. So for me, I would wear my brother's clothes that they couldn't fit anymore, my brother's shoes that they couldn't fit anymore. And one of the biggest things for me, as far as that, even when I look back at my childhood, I knew, like, as where I am today and I look back, I know that I was going through some difficult things. Was what my father and what my family did for a living was we were in Los Angeles, California, and we would go around to the garbage cans in Los Angeles, California, inside the stinking garbage cans, filled with rotten food, filled with dead animals, with all kind of things in these garbage cans. And what we did, we found plastic bottles, we found glass bottles, we found things to recycle so that we can make money, so we can take care of our bills at home and, just have some stuff, basic needs. But I remember even as a young child, like, this is the deepest part of my story, is my entire life until I turned 18 years old, man, my family ate food out the trash can. And I remember like that's how things were for me and my family. And as a young boy, I really didn't understand why. Like that was a question that I had when I was younger. And I had a lot of insecurities because I didn't want anybody to know that I lived with rats. I didn't want anybody to know that my house was filled with roaches. I didn't want anybody to know, like, man, what I'm doing outside of school, going into these garbage cans, going into the stinking dumpsters, have all kind of nasty stuff on my clothes. I didn't want nobody to know that I was eating food out the trash. And so that was a big part of my childhood.
So were you ashamed? Like when you go to school and
Oh,
you kind of
yes.
know these things and you kind of trying to see if somebody's watching and kind of like
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was really ashamed. I was embarrassed. And I'll be honest, as a young kid, I hated my life. Like it was days to where I didn't want to live because of all of the things that I was experiencing. Even at school, when I showed up to school, I tried to hide all of the pain and all of the hurt that I was going through by acting out. So like I used to be a bully, man, and I used to fight a lot in school in my younger days because I just didn't know how to deal with everything that was going on and knowing how my life was and seeing people, wear Jordans and wear name brand clothing. And the times that I did get new clothes, it was not name brand clothing. It wasn't name brand clothing. And just, for me, I always tried to hide that as a kid because I didn't want nobody to know the lifestyle that I was living outside of school. But at the same time, I would say school was like my safe haven because that was the opportunity for me to get away from having to deal with all the things in my home. Like at school, I had breakfast, I had lunch, and I would even get extra food. So that way I don't have to, just eat all the food out the trash. Like I'll be honest, like as a kid, I remember, just asking people, hey, can I get your lunch? Because I know when I go home, I know what I'm gonna have to eat. But I didn't tell them that, but I just knew on the inside, like I gotta get some food here at school. So school was like my safe haven as well.
I think many people listening, especially from this region, can resonate because
Hmm.
growing up in the 90s, um,
Yeah.
it's communism and all kind of Soviet Union kind of collapsed in the end of the 80s, and
Yeah.
I think it
Hmm.
was 91, but like in this region, I think around the end of 80s, and
Yeah.
and 90s were very special years, right? Like
Uh-huh.
many of the people growing up at these days, they remember like there's a lot of poverty, a lot of people didn't have money. So you're trying to
Yeah.
kind of figure it out, which I think has both
Hmm.
aspects. On the one side, it makes you resilient. It
Yes,
makes you
it absolutely does.
it makes you capable to deal with any kind of struggles. On the other side, though, the
Yeah.
the other thing that I recognized, and I'm wondering if that affected you as well, is because you're so little and you're growing up, and it kind of creates this scarcity mentality, like kind of like
Hmm.
I don't have clothes and food and opportunities, so internally you can internalize it that you're not good enough, that you're
Yes.
not good enough, and you always put yourself a little bit inferior to anybody else. It might be subconsciously, and then you kind of
Yes.
grow up and you already have the degree and and you work in a good job, but internally there's still this subconscious like
No,
that you have
yes.
to overcome. And I wonder how was that for you? Do you have to deal with feelings of insecurity, and maybe how did you turn it around?
Yeah, so man, that is a great question. And I'll be honest with you, I have been struggling with insecurity my whole life, but up until like a year ago. I've been struggling with depression. I've been struggling with self doubt. I've been struggling with just always feeling like I'm never good enough, always trying to be perfect in people's eyes. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I never knew that I struggled with that until I hit the lowest moment in my life. And then I got therapy and I saw, man, Josh, I've been carrying insecurities around. And in my life, it was displayed, like even with me growing up. And I've been changing things around now. But with me growing up, getting married at 18 years old, marrying the love of my life, and then having children, I handled myself in a certain way. Like one of the biggest things was I've always was a hard worker. Like I would work hard, hard, hard. Even when I was on my journey to playing professional football, my goal was I just always had to work hard because for me, I had the mentality that if I don't do that, then I'm not going to be good enough. If I don't go the extra mile, that I'm not going to be good enough. And really, man, I saw how that affected my life. And up until a couple years ago, my wife actually pointed that out to me. And as I went to therapy, I uncovered a lot of this stuff that, man, in my life, I've been doing so many things because I'm trying to feel worthy.
Mm.
And as a child, and even still right now, I still been doing some inner work because I have to know, like I'm building myself from the inside to know that I am valuable regardless of what I have. I'm valuable because of who I am as a person, not for what I have, not for what I don't have. And that's been one of the biggest struggles though for me is feeling like I'm worthy without having anything or with having something. So separating myself from material things, separating myself from my title, from my money, from my career, from my position. It's been a struggle to really separate myself to know that I'm just valuable because I'm Joshua. So yeah.
That's powerful, man. And I think we should talk more about those kind of things. Because I
Hmm.
mean, if somebody's looking at you right now, I'll look at Josh. He's happily married with 3 kids. He's a motivational speaker, like going to all those
Yes.
stages, and it kind of like feels like this guy has it figured out. And the truth is, nobody has it
Yeah.
figured out. Even even
Uh-huh.
even now, if you think about it, and you said like a year ago, maybe you recognized this, but the truth is, it
Yes.
never goes fully away. Like you just decrease its
Mm.
power, but there's moments that this.
Yeah.
I think Eckhart Tolle. I don't know if you're reading Eckhart Tolle, this German author, spiritual author, the author of The Power of Now and New Earth
Yeah.
Awakening. Amazing guy.
Yeah.
So he talks about
No, look.
the pain body attacks. I don't know if you remember this kind of metaphor. He
Uh-huh.
calls this insecure, non-confident version of yourself pain
Hmm.
body. Your pain
Pain
body
body.
gets activated, and this is kind of the negative mind. The I'm so
Yeah.
little, I'm not good enough, I'm the fear, the
Yes.
ego. He calls it the ego. The pain body attacks. It's like like even if you're super conscious and awake,
Hmm.
at some point maybe you're underslept and under stress, and the pain body attack can get activated, and the importance is to
Yeah.
get aware of it but not get attached to it.
Yes. Yes.
Have you read the
No. So actually, that's amazing that you said that because I'm finishing up one of my current books right now, but I do have that book and I'm going to read it. Yeah, The Power of Now, I'm going to read it. So now I'm excited to read it. I'm really excited to read it to really dive deep down into it.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing your story. So, you kind of gave us the glimpse of what happened before you turned 18, but then what happened
Hmm.
then? Like you got married at 19 years old, and how did your career evolve from there?
Man, so I'll tell you about that. So I got married when I was 18 years old, but this particular woman that I married, she was my middle school sweetheart. Like we met in the midst of me going through the difficult things that I was going through. Like we met when I was nobody, and truthfully, I married her because she really loved me in my lowest moments of life. Like she was there for me. Like she comforted me through all those years, middle school and high school. She was there for me, and really when you find your soulmate, you know when you find the one, and she was the one. So with marrying her when I turned 18 years old, man, we had a dramatic change in life. And the reason why I would say that is because my father passed away when I was 18. My first semester in college, my father passed away. And even though I didn't realize in that current moment, like what life was going to be like losing him, I knew that I lost something special. And the reason why, because, regardless of, us not having enough, we still had a roof over our heads. We at least had a place to stay. And even, I'll be honest, like eating food out the trash can, like that became normal. And my dad did cook some good meals with the food from the trash. But, when he passed, I had to become a man and I had to grow up because it was just me. I had to take care of myself. And at that moment now I have to take care of my wife. So I grew up pretty fast, because it was on me. And so, um, as I transitioned when my father passed away, the thing that I said to myself was, he's no longer here. Now it's time for you to be a man. Like, now it's time for you to grow up. Like, you can't blame dad anymore for what happened in your life. You can't blame dad anymore for what's going to take place in your life. The power and, whatever's going to happen in your life, Josh, it's all up to you. It's your responsibility now. And I think that was really big because when he passed away, it's something just switched in me. And for me, it's like I had full power over my life. And I knew in that moment that I can change my life, that my life doesn't have to look like my father's life or my past life. I can do something about it. And I'm 18 years old. So, I got a job now. So I'm working, I'm providing for myself. But as I moved on with getting married, when my father passing away, that was huge. But me getting married, that's another big thing that I began to just even discover more and discover myself more and become more resilient and more hardworking. My dream was to go to the NFL, National Football League here in America, to play football. That was my dream. And, I really saw that dream come into fruition. But when my father passed away, that changed things because now I'm trying to figure out, how can I play football, but also take care of my needs, right? How can I play football and take care of my wife? But then even as we move forward, I walked on the football team. I made the football team out here, and it was like great. Like, I'm getting closer to my goal. But then me and my wife, man, we decided to have our first child. And upon having our first child, before he was born, we found out that our first son was going to have a special needs diagnosis. And well, finding out that our son was going to have a special needs condition, man, that was really devastating for me. And that really changed my life around because now I'm like, okay, figuring out, I'm taking care of myself and me and my wife, but now we have our first child and we hear that he has a special needs condition. And this special needs condition is called osteogenesis imperfecta. It's a brittle bone disease to where their bones are really fragile. Basically their bones is made up of glass. And so when that happened, with figuring that out, I knew that my chances, like me playing football, I'm not going to say that it wasn't possible, but what I would say is it was a tough decision, whether you're going to play football and not know if your family is going to be taken care of, or if you're going to go work and do what you need to do as a man, as a father, as a husband, to do what you have to do to take care of your family. And so, man, what happened was I just gave football up and I went into working full time. Started when my son was born. I started working, man, 110 hours a week because when my son was born, he came out the womb and over 75% of his bones was broken. Like like the doctors did not know if he was going to survive. They said that we don't know if he's going to make it. Like, that's what they told us. And with that being the way that it was, for me stepping up as a man, stepping up as a father, and stepping up as a husband, told my wife, I'm going to take care of all the bills. Like, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna work my butt off so that you can be at the hospital, because our son had to stay at the hospital. And I told her, like, I'm just going to do what we have to do to take care of our
What
family.
kind
And
of
so I
jobs?
went in.
What kind of jobs? You said
So
110 hours.
yeah, 110 hours of hard manual labor.
Mm.
So 18 years old, no college degree. I was working at a warehouse here in Memphis. I'm working at FedEx Express and I was working at the hub. So pushing big cans, stacking boxes. And then my second full-time job was working at Rent-A-Center. And so that's me, taking furniture. People would rent furniture, rent furniture, and I will, take washer and dryer up and down the stairs, hook it up in people's homes, have furniture, big dressers and all of those things. So I was doing hard manual labor. Now it was days where I was working 20-hour days, and I did that, man, just on and off, rinse and repeat to take care of my family. Because with our son also having that condition, we got into a lot of medical debt. And I was like, no, I know I don't want us to have bad credit. I want to make sure that our credit is good. I don't want our credit to be affected. And so, man, that's when my journey, as far as even from a young boy, I always wanted to make it to be successful. I wanted to be rich. I wanted to be wealthy because I didn't experience that as a child. And as a child, my way of doing that was the NFL. But once the NFL was out the picture, I still had that desire that I have to make it. I have that desire that I have to be financially free. I have to be financially wealthy and I have to live a successful life. So that just drove me, even with knowing with all of that pressure, I worked that much because it's what I had to do at that moment, right? To take me to where I was trying to go.
Was there what were you doing in these hardest moments, like the most challenging moments that you probably haven't slept for a few days and it's just tough and you don't see how you're gonna make it with the money and it's just everything is on your head. Like what were some specific, like did you have any like friends around you? Was it this motivation? I have to make it because of my wife and my kid. Like what was keeping you afloat? What was keeping you up and going?
Man, what was keeping me up and going was, look, I'm gonna be honest, and I'm just gonna give it to you straight. Like I've always just believed that things could get better. With having my relationship with God and growing up in the church, like that was huge for me. And that's really what kept me going because I had faith, man, that no matter what the situation looked like, no matter what I was going through, I had faith and I believed that I can make it through. But one thing about me as well is I'm very logical. And what I did, man, when I saw all the things that was going on in my life, I approached it with belief and with faith, but I also approached it logically. What I started doing, that's when my financial journey really began. Like I started listening to Dave Ramsey. I got his books. I started listening to the books. I mean, reading the books. And then I started listening to his podcast every single day, just listening to him talk about how to get out of debt. You'll be financially free. And that really motivated me to where I'm very ambitious and I'm very motivated. And I'm going to tell you one of the things that I did. One of the things that I did, I was so focused and driven because I looked at the plan and I said, man, if I work 100 hours a week, if I continue doing this, I'm getting the overtime, I'm getting the double time, we're going to make it through. And the thing about it, I even had a support, like my wife, she supported me a lot. And I can truly say that I couldn't have done that if it wasn't for my wife because she was there for me, even though she only saw me when I came home to take a shower and to eat. She would be there with love. She would be there with food, to give me. And she was just like, hey, she wasn't upset that I was doing that. And so I'm glad that I had my wife to support me. But with looking at my son as well with his condition, like I just knew that I wanted to be that father that my son looked up to because one of the biggest things after he was born, I made it up in my mind that my son is going to have a difficult life, right? Like my son, he has this brittle bone disease. He's going to face some challenges. Let me not say he's going to have a difficult life, but he's going to face some challenges. And for me as a father, the best example that I can be to him is to show him that even though you have challenges in your life, that you can make it through if you believe, even though, you have different circumstances and different situations that can affect you negatively, you can still be successful if you believe. And so I wanted to be that example for my son.
So you work a lot with young people, young leaders, and I, I think this is such a great topic, overcoming challenges and dealing with adversity, because
Yes.
everybody goes through struggles and challenges, and I feel
Yeah.
like even this younger generation mm, does, I don't know how to say it, but I feel like there's so much advice, there's so much conflicting
Hmm.
ideas. So
Yeah.
I'm not at that age, but if I was, I would probably be confused with, like what do I do? This influencer
Yeah.
tells me this other person tells me the opposite, and I wonder what would be what's your advice when it comes to dealing with adversity? What's your advice to young leaders, young people out there that are just on the journey?
Man, so my advice to young leaders that's dealing with adversity, the number one thing that I would tell them, number one thing that I believe, and this is for anybody that's going through difficult things, you really have to believe, man. Like you have to build up your belief system. You have to believe that you can overcome. You have to build up the belief with inside of you that you can make it through whatever you're going through, because that's the first step. Because if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe in your talents and your skills, if you don't believe that you can do more, that you can have more, and that you can be more, well, the following things, you won't take the action, right? That's going to take you through, that's going to get you through the storm, that's going to get you through the valley. You're not going to take the action, and then you're not going to be disciplined, because in order to have action and discipline, you have to believe. That's the first thing that I would tell young leaders, is you have to believe. But
Do you mean
that's
that? Do you mean that for you it's like coming up with a clear vision, picture of what's behind these struggles? What's out there if I keep going? Is that like the vision you're talking about?
Yes, yes. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, there's another side to what you see right now. And really believing that whatever you see right now is some good that's on the other side of this bad. That's what I mean. Like, whatever circumstance, whatever the adversity is some good that's attached to it, because and I've learned this in my later years in life, but what I've learned was it's always two sides to every story. It's always two sides to anything, the yin and yang. So, it's two sides to everything. And the way that you make it through the bad side is by looking at the good side. And if you can't look at the good side, what I say is, because it's easier said than done, right? Believe. But what you do is you start to listen to things that's going to build your belief up, right? You start listening to other people's stories. You start looking up and, listening to Michael Jordan, listen to successful people, right? How they've made it through difficult times, how they made it through difficult things. If you just go on the internet and just look up successful people and look at their stories, you will have some belief that you can overcome whatever it is you're going through, because it's a lot of other people that has been here in life who's been through adversity but made it through.
Man, when I was in high school, I remember I was going through something, probably not something really big, but at that moment I was
Hmm.
feeling like really like hopeless. And one of my
Yeah.
classmates
Hmm.
came to me and he knew the situation and
Yeah.
he told me, Stoyan, after the rain, the sun always comes up.
Yeah.
And that was what I needed to hear, man, because there's situations
Yeah.
that you feel like everything is hopeless. I don't know
Yeah.
where to start, and I cannot see
Hmm.
the situation being resolved. There's no way. My mind cannot comprehend how this could be resolved.
Yes.
But you don't need to know how. That's the thing. Like you figure
Hmm.
it out. Like for you, in your case, like you were like, I'm gonna work 110 hours a
Yeah.
week, and maybe eventually one day I will see the light at the end of the tunnel. But you don't know how
Yeah.
initially. But you just the point is you got to do the right thing. The right thing is not to
Yes.
feel sorry
Hmm.
for yourself. Usually, the right thing is not
Yeah.
to feel
Hmm.
like a victim. And the emotions will
Yes.
usually come. The emotions will usually come, and
Yeah.
they'll take you. But you gotta get aware about these emotions and say, okay, cool. I'm feeling hopeless. Amazing. All right.
Yeah.
Now, what am I gonna do? What's the next step?
Yes.
By the way, Winston, our common friend, Winston Clements.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Let's give some credit to Winston, an amazing guy.
Yeah. And man,
Uh,
that's my guy,
hey
man.
man, Winston is the guy. Winston Ben Clements. He's been on
Yes.
the podcast three times, guys. So go check
Oh
out the
wow.
episode. The guy's a legend. But he told me this little mental trick he has
Hmm.
when he's going through struggles. He just reminds himself through a question, and the question is, what's the next right thing to do?
Yes. Yes. That's it. That's it.
Because it's like, oh,
Yep.
I'm in the middle of like I'm kind of drowning.
Uh-huh.
It's like, okay,
Yes.
what's the next
Absolutely.
right thing to do? And he was
Yes.
joking. Sometimes the best next right thing to do is just take a shower. You know,
No,
because if
yes.
you take a shower,
No,
you feel a little bit
absolutely.
better. It's like you do something
Yes.
for yourself. Now you're like, okay, now let me try to call some people. Like, what's
Yeah.
the
Hmm.
best next thing to do?
Yes. No, absolutely. And man, Stoyan, that's crazy that he said that, but I learned that in like throughout my life, I went through of just knowing like, hey, just focus on doing the next thing. But even life, I went through another hard time, man, even after that. And I was just back in a place to where like this was low moment, but what I realized was, man, the thing that you need to do is just do the next thing. Just do the next thing. Don't sit there, don't be have the victim mentality. Don't just think of all the negative things. Just start to move, because see, action is the thing that really changes stuff around. When you do something, when you take the next step, when you move forward, like that's when things actually change. So man, that's great.
And by the way, we have a question by Yeva. Yeva is one of our listeners, and she's joining us live on LinkedIn. So she has a question, and maybe we can take
Hmm.
that question to continue. So, um, Yeva, thanks for watching us. First of all, so
Yes.
she's saying fate moves mountains. Would you agree to share one experience, person, momentum that strengthen your faith stronger?
Say that last part one more time.
Would you agree to share one experience, comma, person, comma, momentum that strengthen your faith stronger? Maybe like an experience or a moment or something that made your faith grow stronger.
Oh yes, absolutely. And I'll start back. I'll start back, man, to my son. I'm gonna be honest with everyone that's listening. We're finding out, my son had a condition, and when he was born, when I saw him and seeing how his body was all red and purple, and I didn't know how he was going to make it through. I didn't know if the doctor said that they don't know if he was going to make it, and in the very beginning, they didn't know what to do with him. That was one of the biggest things that really boosted my faith and made me stronger in my faith, because now this is the first time in my life where me actually going through something that's really, really difficult that's outside of my control. Like I can't do anything for my son, right? I'm there as a father seeing my son with his broken bones, and I can't do anything for my son, for his bones to heal, for him to get better, for him to make it out that hospital. But really just seeing my son there in the hospital for 2 months, being on drugs, being on the morphine, and the doctors coming in checking on him 24/7, him not being able to breathe well because his ribs were broken. When he made it out of that hospital, my faith was strengthened, because for me it's like, if he can go through these difficult things in his life and make it through, I know that I can. And even as I've been going through life since that 7th year, because he's 7 years old, every time that I'm going through difficult times, I'm reminded of my son. Like I'm reminded to see the strength and the joy that he has right now, even with his condition. And so that's one moment that's really huge in my life that really has built my faith. And I know that, man, as I go through anything in life, I know that I can make it through just by seeing my son. To me, he's a living miracle to me. So
Oh, that's beautiful, man. Thank you for
yeah.
sharing. You work a lot with young people. You hang out with a lot of young people. Actually, you're a young guy, even though when I'm talking to you, because
Yeah.
of all the all the experiences you had, I think you're a lot more mature. But you're yourself a young
Yes.
guy. Um, what do you see young people, high school students, college students, this kind of age? What do you see the biggest struggles for them these days?
Man, the biggest struggle that I really see is just not knowing their purpose, not having identity. Like that's one of the biggest things that I see people struggling with, the younger generation struggling with. And because it's very hard, right? With knowing who you are, because it's a lot of people that's trying to tell you what to be and who you are. And as I talk to a lot of young people, I hear what mom wants them to be when they grow up, what dad wants them to be. I hear what teachers want them to be. I hear what society tells them that they're going to be. Like I talked to a young gentleman just last week, and he was just talking about how his demographics and who he is, how people always telling him that he's going to end up dead or he's going to end up in jail. And, people, I feel like the younger generation is struggling with knowing who they are and knowing, just their purpose in life. That's to me, as I talk to to the younger generation, I'm finding that out more and more and more is they're struggling with really their identity.
And maybe that one is connected, but because I get to meet many young people as well,
Hmm.
often doing speeches, and there's a lot of young people, they come talk to me afterward. Um, I see a pandemic of people comparing themselves to others.
Yeah.
Like, I, I feel like back in the day, we didn't have the tools. You just have a TV, right? Or
Yes.
maybe like a radio.
Yeah.
Now you have
Hmm.
this, right? And
Yeah.
it's,
The phones. Hmm.
and I see so many young people, some of them actually doing quite well for their age. I'm like, I'm proud of
Yeah.
this guy. I mean, last
Yeah.
week, man, I met this group of, maybe they're listening, I don't know, this group of young guys. They joined one of my workshops, 17 years old. And I talked to them, like, hey, man, I'm in high school. I have a job. I'm these 3 projects. One of them is a startup and this and that, my
Ah.
girlfriend. And I'm like, okay, really cool, man. But do you think I do enough? Should I do more? And I'm like, dude, I'm proud of you, man.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. Like, I
Yeah.
wish I was 17 and I was doing this and this. And then we had
Yes.
the discussion further. And then they share with me that, yeah, but there's this other guy from our class and he's having a successful startup. So they can
Yeah. Uh-huh.
constantly compare
Yeah.
themselves
Comparing.
to
Hmm.
I mean, no, not even to, I mean, to real people, but like, you don't know their story, man. How do you compare yourself
Yeah.
with this influencer that's having more
Yes.
followers than
Hmm.
you? So what's, but
Yeah.
there's this thing, man. What do you, how do you deal with that? Because I mean, it's easy for us to talk about it, but it's not so easy for young people to not do it. What do you, what's
Yes.
your advice?
Man, so my advice with that, man, because that is something that is really going on, right? As I spoke to, having that identity issue, the thing that's really important is really getting to know yourself. And it's like, how do you get to know yourself? How do you get to, to love yourself? Well, one way that you do that is cutting out social media. Cutting out social media, because every day that you get on social media, you see the people that's successful, right? And you look at your life and you're like, man, this isn't my life. But even one thing that even, just not social media, but when you go to school, you see the people who have this and who have that. And I was one of those kids when I was younger, right? Experienced all the things. I compare myself to other people that I wanted to be like. But the thing is, you have to spend time with yourself. And I'm letting you know this, like if you're watching this and you have that question, I'm letting you know that you are okay with who you are. Like you are just how you're made. There's nothing wrong with you. Like even if you feel, like you're different, even if you feel like you don't fit in, it's nothing wrong with you. But the thing about it, I know when you're around other people, it's hard to really understand that, but you have to know deep down within inside of yourself, spend time with yourself and start talking positive to yourself. That's one of the ways to where, so you don't go down that trap of really comparing yourself over and over, to other people, is by spending time with yourself and encouraging yourself and writing down affirmations and repeating them on a daily basis of saying, I know who I am. I know that I was made with a purpose, for a purpose, and on purpose. I know that I am special. I know that I am loved. I know that I'm cared for. I know that I'm unique. Those are the kind of things that as a young person you have to do. And the thing about it, I was even just say this, the truth is, when you grow up, right, when you're out of school, you realize that the opinions of people that you cared about, they're not even around. You know, like they're not around, and a lot of it is made up in our head. But if we learn to spend time with ourselves and really understand ourselves and have positive self-talk, we'll be able to move past, the comparison and not having, not knowing who we are.
I feel like if people commit to personal development, that's a big step forward.
Yeah.
For me, that was the game changer. I was
Yes.
20 or 20 or 21 years old. I read my first personal development book, and it just opened a whole new
Wow.
horizon. I didn't know that
Yeah.
this world existed. And I don't think there's one
Yes.
practice. I think now we're talking about this, Joshua. Like you talk about
Mhm.
affirmations are a good thing, but I would say
Yeah.
it's a combination of if you can maybe this is the podcast that you needed to hear right now. You needed to make a
Yeah.
pause, and you needed
Mhm.
to just say, you know what, I need to make some changes, some positive changes to my
Yeah.
life. Maybe it's gonna be doing affirmations. Maybe it's gonna be I'm gonna read one more book on the topic per month.
Yeah.
Maybe it's gonna be I'm going
Yes.
to find one more positive friend that I can spend time with. Maybe I'll
Yes.
commit to go
Mhm.
to the gym. Like I don't know, but like you start stacking up of some of those things, and uh, that's what
Yes.
makes a difference when you decide to
Yes.
make a change, decide to make a commitment. I'm gonna find out who am
Yeah.
I, and there's always
Mhm.
this thing, Joshua, between um, you want to get better. Me and Joshua, we're ambitious.
Yeah.
We're freaking ambitious, man. We had
Yes.
a conversation last
Yeah.
week. Both of us, we have really
Uh-huh.
big goals and dreams, and but while you're chasing, don't don't tell yourself I'm not good enough, so I need to get better, and I'm going to
Yeah.
compensate like what Joshua did early on, right? He's trying to
Yeah.
compensate
Mhm.
because he doesn't feel he's good enough. No,
Yeah.
it's a fine balance. I'm already freaking amazing, but I can be
No,
even better.
yes.
Even better.
Yes,
I can grow
yes.
my
Yeah.
results. I can improve my
Yeah.
habits. But man, look at that. Look at that, man.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, absolutely. Because you said you can improve your habits, and man, that's the thing that makes you better is your habits. Things that you do on a day-to-day basis, those small things. It's not always, the big things. It's the small things that add up over time, one step after one step after one step, that really helps you to become the person that you want to become.
What are some of the habits that you're having these days, or even you've been having in the past several years, like that were fundamental for you to grow as a person?
Man, one of the habits, man, is just really being disciplined, man, because one of the things about discipline, right? When you find something good to do, when you have that discipline that you do it every single day, like as far as with the affirmations or with reading, books on personal development, when you find that good thing to do, having the habit of really staying consistent and being disciplined, doing the same things over and over and over every single day, regardless of if you feel like it. Like that's one of the habits that for me, I've had that my entire life is being disciplined. And I've seen the fruits of that. I've seen the fruits of showing up, right? Showing up. And even though you don't feel like it, showing up when you don't think, oh, this isn't going to do anything, you show up anyway. So having that habit to really be disciplined is really, really key. But other than that, man, having the habit of really taking time out to listen to positive things. Listen to positive things. See, when I was as a young boy, I came across personal development when I was in middle school, when I was in the seventh grade. That's when I first got on to personal development because I was listening to this guy called Eric Thomas. His name is Eric Thomas. And, I was just listening to him every single day. Then I heard
Everybody
about a
wants to
guy.
be a beast until
Yeah,
they
uh-huh.
do what beasts do.
Yeah, uh-huh. I started listening to that motivational talk, but then on top of that, I started to listen to Miles Monroe. I started to listen to a guy named Ray Lewis. I started to just listen to these things. I started listening. It was this guy named Napoleon Hill. I started listening to him as a young person, and I listened to that on a daily basis when I worked out. And that habit of me really listening to those things, it really built my self-belief to where even though my life didn't look good on the inside, with me having that habit of listening to these positive things, my mindset was different. My heart was different. And so even as I got into high school, I came a long ways because of things that I was listening to on a daily basis, just having that habit of listening to positive things.
How do you deal with there's this concept that you are where you are today because
Hmm.
of the choices that you've made all your life. Like you
Yes.
are at this very moment having a podcast with me right now, Joshua, because of all the
Yeah.
small choices that you made throughout your life. It's
Yes.
all up to you, and it's often actually not the
Yeah.
big choices. It's the small choices. The choices
Yes.
between should I eat the apple or should I eat the brownie?
Yeah.
Should I
Mhm.
just go for a walk or should I dumb scroll on TikTok? Right? Like
Yeah.
those kind of,
Mhm.
and it's seemingly harmless. I'm gonna scroll on
Mhm.
TikTok just for 15 minutes, like aimlessly, right? Um,
Yeah.
and I think that's kind of how do you master this, man? Because sometimes you get bored, and not necessarily bored. It could be bored. It could be you are under pressure, and it's easy to make one wrong step to the bad habit.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go to the gym. It's rainy outside, and then it's
Yeah.
like today and then tomorrow you do the same choice, and you get into this more like a negative cycle. But
Mhm.
you talk about discipline, and I want us to get practical. Like what's your, is that like a mindset for you? What do you do when you have to make a choice and it's so tempting to do this little step in the wrong direction?
Yeah. Well, man, yeah, man, that's perfect because that's something that I talk about, to the younger generation. And it's three steps that I have with that. The number one thing, right? You have to change your input. Like that's the first thing that you have to do. Change your input, right? Change the things that you're looking at. Change the things that you're listening to, because believe it or not, the things that you put into yourself, like that's what you're going to start doing, right? So think about it this way: if you're trying to not scroll on social media, and you're trying not to scroll on social media, or you're trying not to do a certain thing, well, you have to be intentional about what you're watching, right? You have to be intentional about what you're listening to, because if you go on social media and you look at something, well, you may see something and you may be like, ah, man, now you're going to fall back into the same patterns, because now what you're putting in you is coming out of you. So if you change the input and only focus and listen to things that's helping you in a direction that you want to go, you'll see a big impact. But secondary to that is, this is really huge. You have to watch who's influencing you. Like you have to change your environment. You have to change your environment, because environment is key for the students, that desires to have good grades. You can't be around people who don't have that same desire. You know what I'm saying? Because I know you heard the quote like, hey, if you show me the 5 people that you hang around with, I can tell you, where your life is going to be, what your life is going to be like in the next 5 or 10 years, because environment matters, right? The people that influence you, it matters. And so if you have people in your life that's good influences, here's what's important. They're not going to let you fall. They're going to hold you accountable. Like you're going to have somebody that's going to be there by your side. So you don't have to do this alone. Now, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think that we can do it all by ourselves. I believe that it's important for us to have people to help us, to hold us accountable, right? To be there with us, to let us know, like, you mentioned earlier, the day that you don't want to go to the gym, if you're by yourself, yes, you can be like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. But guess what? If you have 5 friends that really care about you, that you go to the gym with, I don't think they're going to let you do that. You know what I'm saying? That's really huge. The environment and the people that you allow to influence you. And really, other than that, the thing that I tell people is, you really, when it comes to making those decisions, you have to always have the focus. You have to have your goals in mind. You have to keep your goals in front of you. You have to keep the goal in front of you, because as soon as it's in the rearview mirror, you don't see it anymore. But if it's right there in that windshield, if it's on your phone, right? If it's right there on your mirror when you wake up and you go brush your teeth and wash your face, you see your goals. It's going to be really hard, with all of these three things, right? Focusing on your input, focusing on influence, and then really focusing on how is this decision going to impact my life. When you think about those three things, it's going to be really hard for you to get off track.
I love it, man. And this podcast is called
Yeah.
Productivity Mastery, right?
Yeah. Uh huh.
I think the simpler you make it to make the right choice, the better. If I
Yeah.
have if I have a
Hmm.
bunch of candies and chocolate cakes It's so
Yeah.
much easier, so much easier to go say, yeah, just a piece. But if I have to
Yeah.
go to the
Uh-huh.
shop and I only have maybe water and, like, I don't know, vegetables, and I have to go to the shop
Yeah.
to be like, I'm making it harder for myself
Yeah.
to
You're
make the
making it
wrong
hard.
choice. Same thing with the gym. If
Mhm.
if you if you have a personal trainer, or if you have a few buddies with you, like gym buddies, it's easier
Yeah.
not to
Mhm.
miss the
Yeah.
positive thing. So I mean, it's sometimes you have to change your environment. I mean, you were
Yes.
surrounded by
Mhm.
friends in high school, in college, or whatever. You guys are listening. I don't know
Oh,
where
yeah.
the people with positive influence. Go to a workshop, go to a seminar,
Yes.
go to a place where there's ambitious people, go to a place where entrepreneurs are meeting, like a startup event. I don't know. Go find your
Yes.
crowd. It doesn't mean you should
Yes.
not hang out with your friends, but it means you might wanna spend some more time with other people that will push you to be better. That you
Yes.
know.
No. Now look, Stoyan, I'm gonna be honest with you. You said you said they don't have to stop hanging out with their friends. I'm gonna be honest. It's some friends that you might have to cut off. I'm just going to be honest. It's some friends that you might have to cut off because they're not headed in the same direction that you want to go, right? You have to ask yourself when it comes to the friends that you have, with the people that you associate with, you got to ask yourself, are they helping me get to the future that I want, or are they pushing me further away? And wherever they fall, when you answer that question, you may have to leave them. Like, I'm just being honest.
Have you left
Just
some
being
some
honest.
friends yourself?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm telling you, for me, it wasn't a very difficult thing because I was focused. Like, I was really, really focused going through high school just with my goal of making it to the NFL. I didn't go to no parties. I wasn't hanging out like, the whole football team, talking about whole football team. I'm gonna give it to you realistically. When I graduated high school, Stoyan, the high school that I went to, I was the only football player on the football team that graduated that was able to get a D1 scholarship because everyone else did not have the grades. I was the only person. And so, I say that because being in the middle of all of the football players, right? They're popular, they have the girls and all of these things. I wasn't focused on that. I was focused on my goal. And that's why I was the only one able to get a D1 scholarship my senior year because I was focused. I didn't hang around with them. I didn't do what they did. Some of them was smoking weed. Some of them was doing all kinds of things, but I had my goal and I knew, hey, when I asked myself that question, are they helping me get to my goal or are they moving me further away? The ones that was moving further away, which was a majority of them, probably 99.9%, I let them, do what they do.
Oh, but that's how we met, right? We
Hmm.
we created this mastermind group together
Yeah.
with a few other speakers, because
Hmm.
not everybody understands the life of a speaker, and being
Yeah.
around people who will support you, give you a different point of view, but they'll encourage you is super important. So this is also how we
Yeah.
met, if you think about it, and I'm actually very grateful
No,
for
yeah.
the opportunity to get to know you, Joshua, and to learn from you, and to get inspired. By the way,
Yes.
Yeva has been writing. Your son will grow up inspired by the legacy of your mindset. Thank you, she
Oh,
says.
yes. Yeah, thank you so much. But yeah, that's why I live. That's a part of why I live. Not why I live, but that's a part of why I live. When he grows up, he says right now all the time, he say, Dad, I want to be just like you. And for me, that hits me in the heart. I'm like, yes, I'm doing a good job. I'm doing a
That
good
gives you the
job.
fuel to keep going, brother.
Yes.
Emilia Nikolovska is also watching us, and she commented, struggled with negative self-talk. It's a game changing to be more gentle with ourselves. Maybe a good
Yes.
topic to share a little bit about as well. How do we deal with negative self-talk? Like, practically, what would be some suggestions for the people out there that often, you know, they engage in negative self-talk?
Oh, what I would say, man, number one is you really have to understand the power of words. Like, I'm just going to be honest. I would say you should do a study, do a deep dive on the power of words. And because, a lot of times we don't think that words matter, especially the younger generation. Sometimes, a lot of times we just talk and, we talk about ourselves in negative ways. We even talk to other people in negative ways without really thinking about our words. But when you truly take time to study, like what does that do when you speak negative to yourself? What you're doing is you're sowing seeds, right? You're sowing seeds. And the truth is, the words that you speak is what you believe subconsciously as well, not just consciously. Like that's what's deep down within yourself. And so you really have to understand that positive self talk is seeds that you plant on the inside of you that brings fruit later on. And if you talk negative to yourself, if you talk down on yourself subconsciously, as far as with your identity, with having low self-esteem, you will see that's going to be the fruit that comes up because of the seeds that you have planted in yourself. And so I encourage, the younger people, it's like, hey, write down. And that's why I said affirmations are important. It's super important because when you write those down, you can see those, you can remember those. And when you say them on a daily basis, the thing about it is, even if you don't believe it, even if you don't believe what you're saying, eventually you will, because you can't continue to repeat something over and over and over and over and not believe it.
So what would be like a practical way to do it? Like you say, spend 5 minutes, repeat affirmations, or like repeat them 10 times. Like give me something that's very easy to remember.
Yeah, so the easy thing, write it down on your phone, put it as a screensaver on your phone, right? Write it down on a sticky note, write sticky notes and put it on your mirror so when you wake up, brush your teeth. But what I will also encourage you to do is to get an app on your phone because everyone has a phone. I will say get an app, and I'm gonna tell you, this has been life changing for
Okay.
me. It's an app, it's an affirmation app, and it sends you affirmations based on how much you want it to send it to you. And I'm going to be honest with you. I have it send me all kind of affirmations, but it's called the I am app.
I am app.
And yeah, I am app. And I had scheduled it to send me, just positive things. And you type your name in, and I'm telling you guys, this will, like, no matter like what you're going through, truthfully, when you look at the app and the notification pop up, you just train yourself to say it out loud. And I'm gonna tell you, it's funny because when I first got on this app, I took that serious. And no matter where I was, when I got the notification, I would read it. I'm confident even in my own worth and value. My wife was tripping, Stoyan. She was tripping. Cause even while I'm on the phone with her, when I get it, I read it out loud. I drop everything. So you see, that's a habit that you can make, right? When you get those
I just imagine
notifications,
you. I just
repeating
imagine you
it.
on the subway, man, or like on the metro or something.
No, yes, absolutely. No, when I get the notification, I press it and I'm reading the affirmation that it
You're
gives.
committed, huh?
And truly, yes, committed to it. That's real easy because it's on your phone, and you're on your phone a lot as young people. You are on your phone and you see those affirmations and you go down there every day. The ones that you write on your mirror, look at them every day. The ones that you have on your phone, look at them every single day.
No, I love it, man. It's like you program yourself to for success.
Yes.
You wire yourself with the operational system that can perform and to get you into the direction you want to go.
Yes. And you have to, because the truth is, if you're not intentional about it, you won't do it. And it takes 21 days to build a habit, right? So if you just do it for 21 days, you set your alarm. And see, Stoyan, I went overboard with this. I have alarms in my phone that gives me affirmations. So my alarm goes off during the daytime. My alarm goes off when I wake up. When I go to sleep, my alarm goes off randomly, and I have affirmation notes on different alarms, and I read them out loud.
I love it,
Yep.
man. The affirmation guy. I love it. How
Yeah.
big are you on goals, brother? Setting goals and sticking to your goals. How big are you on setting goals and what is your process if you do?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, man, when it comes to goals, I'm really big on them. But it was a moment in my life to where I stopped writing goals. I
Mm.
did. And that was just a couple years ago. And the reason why I just want to explain why I stopped writing goals. I went through a hard season in life and I really felt like I was a total failure. And when it came to writing goals, man, my mindset was so low that it was like, what's the point of writing goals, Josh? Like, you're so far in the hole, you're messed up in life really bad. Like, writing a goal, it's not going to happen. But I'm going to tell you what happened. I started to read books again and read books. And I'm going to tell you my process. I do it the Think and Grow Rich way, to where you write down your definite desire, right? The way that Napoleon Hill had talked about writing your goals, writing down your statements, what is it exactly that you want? When do you want it? And what is it that you're going to give in return to achieve and receive the thing that you desire? And with that, read with after writing your goals down and really coming up with a definite plan after that, then reading that when you wake up and before you go to sleep. And so that's what I do for goal setting. So how I set my goals now, I do it one at a time. So once I achieve the goal, then I make another goal, and that's how I do it.
Dude, I love
And
it.
but
I
this
love it.
this is
This,
what I will say. My bad. I'm sorry. But this is what I will say. When it comes to writing goals, this is just my thought process. Okay. This is something that I came up with. When you write down your goals, a lot of us, we have many different goals, right? What I started to do, I'm not gonna say I came up with it, but what I started to do was I looked at all of my goals and I put them in a list of priorities. And I asked myself this question: which one goal, if you made this your number one goal, will answer a majority of the other goals? And when I did that, I came up with a great thing to where I have one goal that really covers probably 85% of my goals. And by just achieving that one goal, with me focusing on that, giving it all of my focus, I'm able to knock out a lot of my other goals just by one. So prioritizing the goals for me has been really huge.
dude, I love it. It's like when there's one goal, you can focus. If you have 7 or 12 goals, then I mean, you might be able to achieve something, but if you have only one, your entire focus is on achieving that goal. Doesn't mean you're not going to achieve
Yeah.
other things, but you
Yeah.
just wake up with this thing. You live this thing. You're committed to this thing,
Yes. Yes.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's all about focus, man. It's all about focus.
Yeah.
And talking about focus, I know you have to go to sleep soon, but I just want to ask you because I know that at the age of 24 you decided to become an entrepreneur, and you were quite successful. Even the first year, you made $750,000, I
Yeah,
think, in
yeah. I
your
made over
first year.
$750,000. Yeah.
But how did that happen? If you can just maybe give us the why were you able to be most businesses struggle, especially the first few years, and you were able to be successful to generate a solid number of revenue, solid success. What were the factors on top of hard work, obviously?
Yes. The biggest factor, and this is the biggest factor of all, it was mindset. I had the right mindset. I really, and the reason why I say mindset, and people, they'll listen to this and they say, oh, mindset, what does mindset have to do? Mindset has to do a lot with entrepreneurship and business. And the reason why I know that is because when you start a business, it's always opportunity out there. If you have a good mindset, you're going to see the opportunity. And that's exactly what I did. When I started my business, I saw opportunities. And I'm telling you, Storian, it was crazy to me because I'm going to tell you how it was. The year before, at my job that I was working at FedEx, the highest that I ever made at that job was $74,000. And literally when I quit, the year after, I made over $750,000. And, as I was in the business, making $50,000 a month, making $60,000 a month, to me, myself, I'm thinking, I'm like, man, people are asking me, Josh, how are you doing this? Like, how are you making all this money? Like, what are you doing? People thought I was doing illegal stuff, but I'm just going to be honest. I was so in tune. I was so focused on opportunity. that I saw opportunity. This is opportunity. I'm on it. I'm taking action, and things were happening to where, with me having the mindset, having a good entrepreneur mindset, I saw the opportunities and I took advantage
What
of
kind
it.
of business? What kind of business it was?
So what I did, I had two businesses that year. I had a production business, videography and photography, and also I had a car rental business, and I was also selling cars as well. So
Dude,
I was
I
doing
know it's
all three of
mindset.
those.
I know it's mindset, but I also
Mhm.
know it's a lot of hassle. Like let's let's also kind
Yeah.
of put in
No, no,
that.
yeah, oh yeah,
Like give me, because I don't
yeah.
want us to confuse the young guys out there. Say, okay, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
positive and like sit on the couch and just attract opportunities, because I know that's probably not. I used to have a video production company, brother.
Mhm.
So you know that like we had the same kind of there, but um
Yeah.
like tell me the truth. Like I know I know it's mindset, but like to be able to attract customers, let's say for the production
Mhm.
company, like what was the truth? Like how much rejection did you get? How much did you have to really push yourself to be able to get to that level?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be real honest with you. I'm gonna be real honest with you. All right, so as far as like with me being able to make that much money, you guys, I'm being real. It's because I had a lot of money as well, and so really, what I was doing from that standpoint, Stoyan, I was using my money to make money. And so really like that's how I was operating my business. And even with the car rental business, I was still working a lot, you guys. I was working a lot. But one of the greatest things that I found out is when you have a product or you have a service that people actually want, it becomes easier because they come to you. And I'll be honest, with the car business, so the car business and me selling cars and renting cars, that was where I made a majority of my profit from and a majority of my revenue from. But it's because I had a need, I had a product that people needed. And the way that I structured my business, and I'll say this as well, because the mindset that I had was, Josh, you have to really figure out the thing that makes you different. Right. And that's what I focused on. Like even with my rental car business, and what I did specifically was I treated every customer with great customer service. And I know we hear this all the time, but what one thing that made me stood out was I really treated every customer like they were my friend. And I had a lot of retention from that. But also I went above and beyond. I went above and beyond what other people would do within my businesses. And that is what I know that caused me to be able to make a kind of that amount of money that I made, was because I really focused on what makes me different. And I was very friendly with all of my
So
clients.
would you say that the product or the offering was more or less the same as the competitors, but you had this personal way of treating people and serving them?
Yes. Yeah, I had this personal way of treating them and serving them, but then also I found my niche. So I found the area where what these other rental car companies wasn't doing. I found what they weren't doing, and I was doing that.
Like what
So
was
like
that?
here in Memphis, I'm gonna give you a few things. I'm not gonna give all the gems away. I'm not gonna give everything away.
Sure.
But what I will say, one of the things was I was 24, I was open 24/7. Now that was bad on my end because I was working. I was working, man. Like I was up 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. I didn't really have a schedule
Mm.
because I was open 24/7. And here in Memphis, the rental car companies at that point, they weren't open 24/7. They were closing at 11 o'clock. And that really helped me to get a lot of clientele as well. But that was one major thing.
I love there's a few great learnings here, guys. One of them, obviously working hard, being truly committed. The other
Hmm.
thing is find something. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Rental car
Yeah.
services are there for centuries, guys. Like I mean,
Yes.
like uh, he didn't reinvent the wheel. He found what were the customers looking for that the other companies were not
Yeah.
offering, and he just focused entirely on it. And another
Yeah.
thing that you said, not everybody has capital, but you said I had some capital, I had some cash. So I invested
Yeah.
this cash in the business, I guess, in marketing, in creating the product, the offering better. Like you you put in money, your own money, skin in the game,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
and you double down. You were not looking for the quick cash. You were looking for how do I make a sustainably great business. I mean, this
Yeah.
is a great
Mhm.
learnings, brother. It's a great
No,
learnings.
yes, yes. And but this is what I will say. So let me just go back though. I did learn, like I was studying this before I jumped into it. Like I was studying this. I was listening to podcasts on it. I was listening to people talk about it. I was getting any information that I could. And I will say though, it did take me some time because when I first got in this business, it was 4 years before I actually went all in. So I had some experience as well. And just over time, the moment that I said I'm going all in, everything just clicked. Yeah, everything just clicked the moment that I said I'm going all in.
What would be your advice? Maybe that's a good way to kind of wrap up the episode. What would be your advice
Mhm.
to everybody out there, not just the young people, obviously the young people, but everybody out there who probably has a corporate job, probably finishes university, they've never been an entrepreneur before, but they're
Yeah.
considering jumping in and becoming an entrepreneur. What are some of the things they have to pay attention to, maybe? And what is your advice to everybody who wants to be an entrepreneur?
Oh man, I love this because this is what, man, I love talking about this. Number one thing, I'm telling you the truth, is mindset. It's mindset, you guys. Being an entrepreneur, you have to have a different mindset than everybody else. And the reason why I say that, entrepreneurs, they take risks. Entrepreneurs are not scared of opportunities. That's one of the biggest things that you have to change in your mindset because we know this with a lot of businesses, right? When people start off in business, a lot of people say, oh, he's crazy for doing that. That's never going to work, right? Like you hear that a lot. And so you have to not be scared of what people say. You have to know what you have and know that it's going to take some time. You have to be willing to put the hard work in, but you have to train this mindset because in business, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up and it goes down. And when everything is going great, that's lovely, but you have to have the mindset to be able to deal when you're not getting the customers that you want. When things are looking scary, like things are not going to make it and your business look like it's going to fail, you have to have the mindset to know that you're going to put in the work. I think about the story of FedEx because I work there and I know everybody heard the story of Fred Smith, how he said the FedEx was going down. But he took I heard it was his last five or $10,000 and he went to the casino with it. So that way he took it, he flipped it. But you got to have the mindset that you're not going to give up, that you're going to use any resource that you have. I think that's what it's really
Is that
about
real,
because
man?
business.
Is that real? Like
Yeah.
you went to the casino with like it feels like I need this money, like
Yeah.
blackjack, whatever.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the story that I heard. And I did read it in the article as well, but that was a story. But even I heard Alex Hermose's story in his
Mm.
business, and what I've learned about business is it does get hard, but you're a real entrepreneur when you make it through the difficult moment because you're going to be tested, and if you have the mindset, you'll make it through. That's the biggest thing, mindset.
Joshua, I don't want to let you go, brother, but you gotta sleep. You gotta sleep. Even though, as we heard from this episode, you probably have experience not sleeping so frequently. I don't want to be
Oh
the
yeah,
guy that
oh yeah.
gets you there, brother. But I want everybody who's listening to, first of all, to learn a little bit about you. So if you can maybe wrap up with this, um, first of all, what's your final message to the audience, to everybody listening? But then also tell us where could we follow you? Where, like, if somebody wants to hire you as a speaker, like, just give us a little bit about how can people get more of Joshua energy, right? You have Instagram, you have LinkedIn.
Yes.
Tell us where can we find you, follow you, and even hire you to speak and so on.
Yes. No, yes, absolutely. You can follow me on all social media platforms. So I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Threads. And that's at the handle at Joshua H. Tate. I know you're gonna find me because you guys, I've been really going in on my content. Even last month I posted over 90 videos. I post encouraging videos, inspiring motivation videos every day on all my platforms. So that's where you can find me. And if you want me to speak, you can type in my website. That's www.joshuatate.org. And then you'll be able to find more information on how to get with me to speak at your event, speak at your school to your students. I'll be more than happy, to to speak at your school. And so that's where you'll find me at www.joshuatate.org. And Stoyan, you had asked me, what would be my final message to everyone that's watching. Truthfully, what my message would be is, no matter where you are, you guys, no matter what your life look like, no matter whether you're going through some hard situations right now, some difficult situations, I know that your life can be better. I know that there is more to your life. I know that regardless of where you are right now, you can be more, you can do more, and you can have more, and you can be more than what you are right now. So don't give up. That would be my final message.
I appreciate you, man. I just want to give you a big
Yeah.
thank you for showing up, for being real, not trying
Yeah.
to look good, but trying to give from the
Oh
heart and
yeah.
to give value to the
Hmm.
audience and to everybody. So we'll be following your story, brother. I know you're gonna be one of the big names in the business. You're gonna be one of the big
Yeah.
guys in a few years. So I'm happy that we code you now on the ladder to success, because I know you're gonna
So
be on the top,
yes.
brother. I know you're gonna be on the top, brother.
Yes. Man,
Appreciate you,
thank you
man.
so much. I appreciate it. And look, thank you so much for having me. I really thank you so much, Stoyan.
And if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to share with a friend. And if you enjoyed it, obviously there's close to 230 episodes more that you can find on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. If you subscribe, you're really gonna help us, because the more people subscribe, the better opportunities we have to get even more exciting guests. So we'll appreciate the follow or subscribe. So thank you so much for being with us, and see you once again next week for another super exciting episode of the Productivity Mastery series. Have an awesome day, guys. Let's keep performing.